Hello again, and welcome to this week's edition of the Daily Canon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here to bring you the tactical tweaks and quirks and how both teams approach this rather disappointing game between Arsenal and Aston Villa at Villa Park. And another defeat, another lackluster attacking performance, another questionable display of match management by Mikel Arteta. And yeah, this might be the start of the Arteta out movement. It's that bad. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't try to make it sound better than it is, but this might be the beginning because, as we'll see throughout the video, do I want Mikel Arteta to go? No. But the problem Arsenal have right now is that they are playing to one particular system and it's grand, and when it works, it's really good. But when it doesn't work, there is no plan B, and Arteta's ability to change on the fly and come up with something that works off the bench is so lacking and understandable because he's a rookie manager. But in the year and a bit that he's been at the job, he has not yet grasped the ability to change matches with substitutions. And if anything, he's making them worse. And the Wolves game on Tuesday was a prime example of this when reduced to 10 men, he takes off Lacazette, brings on Smith Rowe. Takes off Lacazette and brings on Gabriel, and plays with no striker for 15-20 minutes, which immediately conceded the midfield to Wolves. Moutinho scores from 30 yards, and it's 2-1 and the game's over. Similar what happened today. Now, can he be blamed for the first 2 minutes of the game? No, he can't. I mean, it's a weird one because Aston Villa played a very deliberate tactic today of attacking Arsenal's fullbacks with long balls. And to an extent, here is Villa's heat map. Number one, they don't give the balls to the centre-backs at all. At all. Emi Martinez, who we know and love from his previous spell at Arsenal, is fantastic and very prodigious at that 50 to 60 yard long ball ping from here, boom, all the way to the right, boom, all the way to the left. And as you can see, Villa did not have the ball in the centre of the field at all. At all. Every time Martinez got the ball, they were targeting our fullbacks. Why? Because Bellerin is 5'9", 5'10", and Cedric is 5'7", 5'8". Grealish, big physical left winger, superb on the ball, but a big lad as well. And Traore the same. And as a result, every time an Arsenal attack failed to materialise in a shot, which was a lot, Martinez would immediately target, especially Traore. 60-yard ball straight down here, and it would be reduced to a one-on-one here. And then McGinn would chase the second ball, Nakamba would come in, Barkley would come for the second ball, and Aston Villa would attack them there. That was their game plan. It's not very pretty, it's not very sophisticated, but it was effective because it worked within a minute. You know, long ball to Traore, Gabriel clears it, gets to Cedric. Cedric passes the ball to Gabriel, and then immediately runs inside, but forgets to actually pass the ball to Gabriel. Watkins picks it up. Traore picks it up, crosses it to Watkins. Holding is too close to the goalkeeper, trying to almost do two jobs and does neither. Watkins gets a shot. He's unlucky. Holding deflects, and the debutant Ryan has no chance, and it's 1-0. And all of a sudden, Arsenal's game plan, which is to draw Aston Villa onto them so that they can catch them on the break, like they did with Wolves on Tuesday, is now gone. Because Villa can now just do this. And wait. And just sit and wait. And what Villa did really well was, if you look through our previous videos, I showed you how Southampton's ability to press on Arsenal was superb, especially in the FA Cup game, because they were able to do it 2 or 3 different ways. They would come at you 4-2-3-1. They could come at you 4-2-4. They could come at you 4-3-3. Like, there was no particular pattern to Southampton's pressing. They were able to disguise it a lot. And then you had teams like Newcastle who had no intentions of pressing at all. They would play with 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, and then a lone striker. And they would just sit and wait, basically. What Villa did was a little bit of a combination of the two. And when they're lined up like this, you might think, okay, they're definitely going to press with 4 and then sit back with 6. But they didn't. What they did was, instead of having, when we say 2 banks of 4 and you've got to try and get in between the lines, what we mean is that defenses usually set up 2 lines and that you've got to break through both lines to get in on goal. What Villa did, and it was very smart, because they know how much Arsenal want to progress the ball, they created a 3rd line. So Traore would be here. We're getting rid of those. McGinn, Nakamba, and Grealish would come back. Watkins would go right. Barkley would go through the middle. And in essence, what they would do is they would sit in the gaps, like this. And they would tell Arsenal, on you go, pass through us. And they would sit and wait. They would just hold these positions in the gaps between the players, because what they're trying to do is not press you into making a mistake. It's almost a basketball tactic where they're trying to jump the lanes. What they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage Cedric to make this pass to Pepe, and when McGinn can get in and get it. Or if he tries to pass it to Xhaka, then Traore can nip in and get it. Of course, the Arsenal players see that, but what it does, it forces them backwards. So Cedric has to go to Gabriel. Barkley will then go there so that he can't pass to Partey, so it goes to Holding. Watkins will then go between them and Partey, so it goes to Bellerin. He will then go there, and back and forth and back and forth. And yes, Partey got a lot of the ball, but now he's still got 2 lines of defenders to beat. So now he's having to play a long ball to Cedric, who would come there, and oftentimes was not Partey's best game at all. It would end up here. And any time the ball did get to Saka, Aston Villa did but what most teams are doing now. They just kicked him out of the game. It's not, like I said, not pretty. It's not a tactic that, you know, is very nice on the eye, or certainly something you want to see very often. But they're so used to people doing it to Grealish that they just doled out someone else's dinner on someone else. And Saka was the recipient of a lot of quote-unquote rotational fouling, and he was kept somewhat quiet. Like, he was getting a lot of the ball, but wasn't able to really create anything, because he'd beat one lad and then the second lad would just come in and clean him out. It wasn't particularly pretty, but it worked. Smith Rowe got on the ball once or twice, didn't really find space. Pepe was doing well. To be fair, he was beating Cash with some regularity. Cash played well, but Arsenal had 1 shot on target in the whole of the first half, and that was a free kick from here from 30 yards. And frankly, Martinez made a bit of a Hollywood save to keep it out. But that was the first half. It was just Villa sitting back, letting Arsenal have the ball in front of them, and Arsenal huffing and puffing and failing to do anything of note. You know, like, we had Lacazette. Lacazette's heat map is a prime example of this. As you can see, he's in and around here. So he's there. Bellerin, of course, is here when Arsenal have the ball. Smith Rowe kind of wants to try and find a bit of space, and Pepe is here on the left as an outlet. But Lacazette is bringing the ball back and then giving the ball to Saka. And then Saka is able to beat target once or twice. Mings is doing a superb job of, you know, marshalling the defence. But anytime Saka gets the ball in, Lacazette's here. Or at least he's trying to get in the box, but he's here by the time. Smith Rowe's not getting in the box quick enough. Pepe's not getting the ball in quick enough. And Aston Villa are almost like, okay, Saka can beat the first lad, but we know these 3 players aren't going to beat us in the air, so let's let them cross. And Cedric is not going to go past on the left. He's always going to cut in as well. So anytime he tries to cross in, McGinn is there. It was a concerted effort by Aston Villa to funnel Arsenal into the middle. And Arsenal had pretty much no answer to it. They just tried getting the ball here and then crossing the ball in. I mean, 35 crosses. 35 against a team that is not very with a strike force that's not very big, against a defense that is rather physically imposing. It's the Tottenham game all over again, where Arsenal are consistently butting their heads up against the brick wall and not having a plan B. And it's this lack of ability to improvise. It's this lack of a match winner almost per se that is costing Arsenal points, because they're getting a lot of the ball, but they don't have a player of a Jack Grealish who can just create a goal out of nothing, that can pretty much beat 2-3 players and then find a pass, and then Arsenal are in, and then Villa are in. Arsenal don't have that. Pepe is still adapting to this left wing role. Look, Saka is going to be really good, but to expect him to be able to do it every game at this stage in his career is just too much expectation on the lad. And Smith Rowe looks exhausted. Because why wouldn't he be? Because this team, apart from Gabriel, has played 3 times in the last week. Because they played okay against Manchester United. They played really well against Wolves for 44.5 minutes. So Arteta has gone, okay, I'm playing you again. And Smith Rowe looked wrecked. Lacazette looked wrecked. Cedric looked wrecked. Partey looked absolutely empty. And, the consequences for that were soon to be shown later. Bellerin was not his explosive self down the right. They looked like they were running on fumes. And 15 more minutes of this in the second half, and Arsenal finally make a change. And it's this. If I can spell Aubameyang, it would be, there we go. It would be fantastic. And Aubameyang was asked to do exactly what Lacazette was doing: hold up the ball and then pass it short to either Pepe or Saka. And that is not this man's game. This man's game is doing this and doing this and doing this. And asking him to be, in essence, a poacher number 9, it's just not his game. And you don't bring him on to do that. And, a like-for-like substitution when what you were doing already isn't working was the first example of Arteta not knowing how to change the game. It's not the system's fault, it's the personnel's fault. So I'm going to bring on better personnel or different personnel to change the game. And it didn't work at all. Arsenal had one chance when Cedric put in a ball. Aubameyang got here, but Konsa and Mings were both on him like a rash. And it was, the chance went to begging. He did win one header, but in fact, if he'd missed the header, it would have been better because Smith Rowe was behind him. But it wasn't the right answer for the problem. Like, this system as it wasn't working. So 10 minutes later, Arteta made a second change. And what he did was, he took off Cedric and brought on Odegaard. And folks will know by now that I am not a big fan of playing Bukayo Saka at left back, because I want him here, or here, or here. I don't want him here. Okay, and I know when we have the ball, our fullbacks attack, but I just feel that at least starting games, he shouldn't be there. But 65 minutes into the game, when you're chasing a goal, it's acceptable. It's last ditch. It's it's a throw of a dice. You're pushing forward mentality. You want an extra body, and if you're going to have another outlet there, you want it to be your best left-footed player. And no, for 15 minutes it worked. Frankly, Odegaard and Smith Rowe took turns in essence to play as a number 10 And as a result, McGinn and Camber had no idea which one to mark. Sometimes Odegaard would be there, sometimes Smith Rowe would be here. What it meant was that Target and Mings had to constantly be aware of who they were marking and who was there. Aubameyang was then able to find a little bit of space. But what it did was, in essence, because Xhaka would tuck in at left back when Saka bombed on, it reduced the game to this. It was Saka and Pepe versus Konsa and Kat. And it was a battle that Arsenal were winning. Like, because both of them had to respect each Arsenal's player to beat them on the left-hand side, they had to come out wide, which meant McGinn had to almost fill in here at times, which is exactly what you want when Partey, Odegaard and Smith Rowe are able to find those balls in, and Xhaka is able to step forward here and also find Pepe, who finds that gap if McGinn cheats towards Aubameyang or Odegaard a little bit. Like, is there a guarantee that Arsenal would have scored here? No, but it was their best passage of play in the game. And it was getting to the stage where pressure was building. Arsenal were unable to create an absolute gilt-edged chance, but one was coming. Villa were not able to get out at all. The balls to their wingers were not on anymore because they were getting goal kicks. Arsenal were consistently recycling the ball and consistently pushing forward. And whilst Villa's defence was not breaking, it was bending. Anyone who has played FIFA 21 or FIFA 20 will know the curse and the horror of the auto blocks in that game, where defenders would come out of nowhere to block everything. And Villa's back four, especially, was doing a fantastic job of getting a foot on everything. Crosses were coming in, Konsa was getting it. Mings especially was superb today. He was able to position himself perfectly for anything Arsenal were able to do. And you can't keep that up. Eventually you will make a good chance. But then Arsenal's biggest mistake came, and it was a small bit forced, but these are the sorts of decisions that would lead you to want a change in manager. Because when Partey goes injured, all right, because he's played 3 games in a week after coming back from 2 thigh injuries and not being given proper rest, and you should be trying to at least maintain his minutes so that he can stay fit for the rest of the season, and he goes down injured again. When you have 2 half-decent midfielders at least on your bench, Elneny, who can at least provide a little bit of cover for Xhaka if you want to push Xhaka further forward, or Dani Ceballos, who you want to replicate in the Partey role, who can make those progressive passes. Is he as good as Partey? No. But at least if you played either of those two, you would be able to maintain this shape. You would be able to maintain this pattern of play, which was working. It was pushing Villa back. It was limiting them to the odd counter with Grealish and Barkley running, but by this time Barkley had been substituted and he wasn't happy. You were reducing Villa to getting the ball to Grealish and hoping Grealish falls over and gets a foul. That's what this was doing. So it was crucial to maintain this. This was Arsenal's best chance of getting something out of the game. So did Arteta bring on Ceballos? No. Did he bring on Mohamed Elneny to push Xhaka forward? No. He brought on Willian. Now, this isn't going to be a rant against Willian. He's been awful so far this season. But for once, I don't think I can blame him in this, because he was asked to do a job that doesn't suit him, and it threw the team off, and it completely played into Villa's hands, because what Arsenal did was this. So Saka and Pepe are having a lot of joy and success against this left-hand side because they are able to stretch Villa out. And then Smith Rowe and Odegaard deliberately go out of the way. Aubameyang goes in here. You're making space. You're making sure that there's always space in for Arsenal players to run in and just try and create something, right? What you don't want to do is close that space up. What Arsenal did was close that space up because they took Willian, that's Barkley, and they put him here. They took Pepe, who was having an okay game on the left, and was having his best performances for Arsenal, frankly, on the left, and they put him on the right. They put Odegaard here, they put Smith Rowe here, Aubameyang in the middle, and they put Xhaka here to orchestrate things. Now, this is the way City play. In essence, inverted winger, fullback that kicks on, two midfielders who are very good on the ball but can do a little bit of work rate, and a defensive midfielder who knocks the ball long left and right. That is the City way. But it works for City because this player here doesn't just get the ball and immediately go like that and run immediately into the defense. And this player here doesn't get the ball and immediately run into the defense and run it and go like this. Yes, they are better on their stronger foot going this way than that way. But the reason why Raheem Sterling gets picked for Manchester City all the time on the left wing is because he is one of the best in the world at timing runs and making runs behind the back line. It's why so many of his goals are tap-ins, because he is brilliant at doing that. And it just draws the defence back, and so you have to credit, which means there's plenty of room for this. Willian got the ball. And every time he got the ball, his intention was to run like that, was to run inside. We'll get his heat map. It's all coming in. It's all coming in. And as a result, Cash now only has Saka to worry about. Konza can now come back in because he knows he doesn't have to worry about Willian doing this, because he's always going to go there. McGinn now can go here. This is Trezeguet by now, but he can do the same. This is now Ramsey. He can go there. Grealish can come in. Nakamba can now go in. Target can now come in because he knows Bellerin's not gonna forgo his defensive duties too much. He's gonna try and come inside because he knows Pepe is absolutely 100% of the time gonna go this. Now where's the space? There isn't it. And as a result, Saka would get the ball here, look up, no one to pass it to, so he lobs the ball in, and we're back to Arsenal having 35 crosses. And it's the same problem again. They're just knocking the ball into a player that is outmatched and just outdueled by two players that are bigger than him. And it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating to watch a team be asked to do something which a mug like me knows won't work. Because the players that he is asking to perform these jobs are not suited for these roles. Willian is not a left winger. He is a right winger. He always has been. He always will be. The idea that he can play 10 was quickly besmirched within 2 games, and frankly the idea that he can play left wing should be as quickly put to the sword after a performance like this. He is a right winger, plain and simple. Cedric was okay at left back, but Christ, Arsenal need Kieran Tierney back as quickly as possible because all of their threat is coming down the left right now. Like Saka when he plays right wing is fine, but he needs help. And Smith Rowe looks exhausted, and both Lacazette and Aubameyang are now out of form. And this is a problem. Like I cannot underestimate how much and undersell how much of a problem this is. Because here's Arsenal's fixtures for the next. And whether I'm being pessimistic or heat of the moment and I'm disappointed that Arsenal lost today, fine. But I just want to illustrate how many games Arsenal have in the next few games that they are not favourites. Okay? Number 1, Leeds. Look. Okay? here's the table, right? Leeds have played 21 games, they've scored 36, and they've conceded 38, right? Leeds could beat Arsenal 3-0 and lose 3-0. That game could be anything. No one can predict that game. The Leeds at Qatar could be the one that beat Leicester City, or it could be the one that lost 5-0. Like, they could do anything. Do I trust Arsenal to be able to play out to the Leeds press? Without Partey, I don't. So, yes, okay, maybe Arsenal are slight favourites this game, but only because I have no earthly idea what Leeds could do. Because Leeds don't have any earthly idea what Leeds could do. After that, Benfica away. Now, this could be one leg. We still don't know yet, thanks to COVID and UEFA trying to get all of these games squeezed in it before Euro 2021 starts. But Benfica are fourth in the Portuguese league. They're not having a great season, but again, are Arsenal favourites for this game? No, not away anyway. They favourites for this game? No. Maybe slight favourites for Benfica at home, but that'll all depend on this result. Are they favourites for this game? No. Are they favourites for this game? Probably. But this is the first game where I would say Arsenal are definite favourites, and I wouldn't say by much, but I'm more confident of Arsenal getting a result against Burnley than I am against Leeds. That's a month away, and then it's Tottenham, who are going to set up with everyone that has any affiliation with Tottenham at all, set up playing as a back. Like, that's going to be 20, 25, 30 men behind the ball. Like, this game could legitimately decide which one of Mikel Arteta or Jose Mourinho gets sacked first. Legitimately. If Tottenham are playing really badly and Tottenham rock up and beat Arsenal, that could be the nail in the coffin for Mikel Arteta. Because after that, West Ham, who were in form, then it's Liverpool, and only then are there like 2 games where you think, oh yeah, Arsenal are definitely favourites. Away at Sheffield United and then home to Fulham. But my point is that Arsenal have, look at the run of form Arsenal are in now. Remember after the Newcastle game, we were thinking, oh, maybe, yeah, Arsenal are starting to get a bit of run together. They lose to Southampton in the Cup. They then go to Southampton and beat them and go, okay, maybe this was a blip. Draw, loss. Anything could happen. Tricky game, loss, tricky game, probable loss. The pressure is going to start to build now. Like, the honeymoon period is definitively over, and we may be looking at. I hope I'm wrong. I legitimately hope I'm wrong. But if Arsenal don't beat Leeds next Sunday, this might be the beginning of the end of Mikel Arteta's reign as Arsenal manager. I sincerely hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. We'll see you next time, viewer. Cheers.